What is going on, Grinders? It's Chief. It's TJ. It's the NFL Showdown. Pre-lot show. Coming in hot. Possibly going to be coming in cold up there in Buffalo. A little bit of weather, but I think according to Cardi, and let me just refresh here, TJ. I want to make sure I'm good. I think Cardi had it at yellow orange, and they were dealing with some heavy snow. I'll just read this. I do think this is important. After dealing with heavy snow most of the day Saturday, the main snow band is pushing south of Orchard Park. Early this morning, that should give volunteers plenty of time to have Highmark Stadium in good shape by Sunday Night Football. There's still chances for snow showers, but as I've been saying all week, the prospect of snowmageddon here is highly unlikely, and there's a chance they avoid snow altogether during game hours. The more noteworthy weather here is the wind, which should be coming in around 10 miles per hour sustained, but could mix in some healthy gusts, occasionally reaching 20 to 25 miles per hour. Combine the somewhat breezy conditions with temperatures in the upper 20s, I do think we'll see some minor impact here to scoring, but I would not call it a high impact weather game. So just wanted to read that from Cardi, just so you guys had a little bit of an idea what's going on there with the weather. There was some snow. It looks like there's not going to really be too much snow during the game, but it will be cold. There will be some winds and a possibility of some gusts. Now, Mr. Gerg is saying Chief sounds like he's in a tunnel. Thank you, Mr. Gerg. Perhaps I don't have the right microphone, but all my settings say I'm on the right microphone.
You sound fine to me.
Yeah, okay. Okay, well, Mr. Gerg, anybody else, if you're listening, if it sounds like I'm in a tunnel, please let me know, and we'll try to get that fixed. But I TJ would have told me before the show that, hey, man, you sound like, a robot or something like that. Let's hop right in. If anybody else thinks I sound weird, please drop that in there. It's not going to bother me. We just want to make sure we have good sound quality and are coming in right for you guys. So TJ, let's hop right in. Of course, we're going to go DraftKings, then FanDuel. Obviously, DraftKings is a little bit different scenario because we have to pay a higher salary for our captain position. So who's kind of your favorite captain today? I do think we have a couple different options. Obviously, we know San Francisco has some guys. I think if we're going the Buffalo route, obviously we know Josh Allen is kind of the main guy. Who are some of your favorites at captain tonight?
Well, I think, with throwing away what we've seen so far, it feels like Christian McCaffrey would be the best captain option here. Buffalo has given up a lot of fantasy points to running backs. He's just going to be getting all the touches today. But he hasn't looked like himself so far. Trent Williams is not expected to play for this one. I don't know how much I actually want to do Christian McCaffrey there. I think if I'm doing single entry, one lineup, just trying to feel real good about who I get in there, I'm probably feeling like Josh Allen is my top play at the captain position. But I do think it's okay to get a little spicy, try something different, throw somebody like a Jawan Jennings in there as well.
Yeah, don't hate Jawan Jennings. Obviously, we've seen Jawan Jennings, be somewhat of a slate breaker, if you will, in times past. Ironically, TJ, San Francisco is going into this game. I don't think this team is anywhere near going to a championship right now. I mean, they've been faltering most of the season, or at least after the first couple games. We've got Buffalo riding high. Obviously, I know that Purdy's kind of coming back. We've seen Purdy have some games, TJ. I'm interestingly enough, I secretly kind of like Brock Purdy at captain tonight. What are your thoughts on Purdy? Once again, I know he's kind of coming back, but this is a guy that has, been putting up some numbers week in, week out, when healthy. If you kind of if you're a game log person, outside of the game, he was out 19 fantasy points, 26, 20, 24, 15, 28, 18. Like, he's been very productive. I tend to like Purdy here because San Francisco may even be down for a portion of this game. What are your thoughts on Purdy and then after that, we'll move along to some positional stuff in the flex.
Yeah, the Purdy one's very interesting for sure because he's not that expensive, and it's rare you get a quarterback of his caliber with a little bit of a discount and a big ownership discount. Nobody's going there today. I am admittedly a little scared off by the reports that, he's going to give it a go, but he's not 100%. With it being his throwing shoulder, that does have me a little bit fearful, but I'm always willing to take shots on plays I'm scared of as long as they have low ownership, and that's the case with Purdy tonight, so I like that call.
Yep, for sure. All right, let's go position by position, and we're just going to start. Today we'll go quarterback down, TJ. I know sometimes we kind of build it up, talk about defense, talk about kicker. Let's just start the quarterbacks because I do think Josh Allen is a big part of this game tonight in terms of where we may want to plant our flag. Highest priced guy on the slate, obviously, coming in the flex at 11,000. Obviously going to be garnering at least according to our projections, the highest ownership on the slate. I think it's worth it just because of how much they asked him to do. TJ, Josh Allen, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, Allen, I think, is kind of going to be my top choice for a captain in terms of single entry. He's got rushing upside. He doesn't have a condensed receiver that he throws it to. Like, it's not like he's going to have one guy that he gives 12 targets to today. It's going to be very spread out. And so I do like the idea of putting him at captain, rushing touchdown upside. I think he's the quote unquote safest option to throw up there at captain today.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Next up, TJ, in the flex. I know you mentioned him at captain. We're going to the flex here. Let's talk running back. So our big running back is McCaffrey, who hasn't had a big game yet, but obviously we think one could be on the horizon if they start giving him the workload. Then we've got James Cook, who has had some nice performances of his own, TJ, and has been the main guy. And not only that, he's been catching passes a lot more this year, or a lot just regularly. Let me say that regularly. How are you feeling about Cook versus McCaffrey? $1,000 difference. I think we'd all prefer McCaffrey straight up. But just in terms of the flex, how do you feel about Cook? Just in general, I think he's a viable option tonight.
Yeah, I think Cook is very viable in the flex today. I think I like him better at the flex than I do the captain just because he is pretty expensive. I like McCaffrey in a vacuum better, but if that $1,000 or $1,000 plus, whatever it is, gets you a little something extra, I don't mind the downgrade to Cook at all. It's like you said, we kind of consider the 49ers to be this juggernaut, this powerhouse, but that's not who they've been this year. And so playing a game script that Buffalo gets ahead, Cook gets heavily involved. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever.
For sure. And speaking of extra savings, TJ, our Thanksgiving table has a little something for everyone. This week only, we're letting you pick the discount. We're offering deals on all active sports, including $40 off your first month of Combo Pro and 50% off the NBA annual package. That's a really good one. Still plenty of NBA to go around. With the jam-packed sports schedule this week, it's the perfect time to get some premium access. Here we go. TJ, any other running backs, random guys that you want to plug in, like a Ray Davis at 2,800? Do you think perhaps they squeeze in, a little bit of Mason today? Like, what are your thoughts? Do you want to plug in any of those guys?
No Mason for me today. I don't think I'm going to mess around with the backup running backs at all. Both these teams really needing to win this game. 49ers more than the Bills. 49ers are basically out of the playoffs without it, but don't think I need to mess with any of the backup running backs. No Jordan Mason or anything like that for me today. The toughest, I think where this slate is going to be won and lost, and it's the toughest for me to decipher, is the receiver position today. Because you got Amari Cooper back healthy, expected to step into a pretty big role. Khalil Shakir is priced decent enough today. Jawan Jennings is always one of my favorites, but receiver is going up against Bills aren't typically what I really like to target. I'd rather get a tight end in there. Debo's been super disappointing all year, but always has big upside. there's cheap value with the Bills receivers. Like I really think this is going to be where the slate is won and lost, and I don't know where I want to go with it.
Yeah, and here's the thing, TJ. I think on a slate like this, when you're looking at both receiving cores, you may want to make sure you have some mass multi-entry going. And this is why mass multi-entry exists, right, TJ? Where you may not be able to peg completely, but here's one of the things I can say. Khalil Shakir has been involved pretty much in every scenario. Even when they start the season, he was getting targets. You know, he's been getting targets down the stretch here. Obviously, we figure Amari Cooper at some point will take the reins on this wide receiver room, but then we saw Keon Coleman picking up targets, TJ. So I think if I had to choose right now, it's definitely Shakir or Cooper. I think I'd make them prove to me that Coleman's going to be a factor. And then if I go to the San Francisco side, I'm with you. I think it's Jawan Jennings or Debo. And I think I don't mind trying to run the split with them. But Jennings has proven that he's good. He's been really good in this offense down the stretch also. I think that's how I would play it, TJ. So Shakir, Cooper, 1A, 1B for me. Keon Coleman coming in at a distant third until they prove to me that they're actually going to give him significant work in the passing game. What are your thoughts about kind of that ranking system?
Yeah, no qualms for me at all on that one. I am just really tempted to take shots on Amari Cooper because he has that name value. You know, like I just kind of feel like at some point Amari Cooper is going to go be Amari Cooper for the Buffalo Bills. He's going to show them why they traded for him. He hasn't really had that big day since he barely played any snaps on his first game for them. And then he went out and just scored a touchdown anyways. Only had 3 targets in his last game back, but it's like, oh, this is Amari Cooper. It's got to be coming at some point, right? And yeah, Justin Sports said Coleman is out. Yeah, he meant Cooper, not Coleman on that one. But it's so tough to. I just feel like that breakout day for him is coming, and I don't want to be underweight on him when it does.
Yeah, and thank you, Justin Sports. Listen, man, my bad. I actually meant Curtis Samuel, not Coleman. But like you get what I'm saying? Like Curtis Samuel's been the third guy here. But either way, Cooper and Shakir. Cooper and Shakir are 1A, 1B for me. And then everybody else is just kind of like, you know, it is what it is. So there you go. That's where I'm at there. And then 49ers, I think Jennings is like 1A. Debo Samuel is maybe like 1C. If you get what I'm saying, like I think Kittle is probably 1B in terms of just receivers. And I know he's a tight end, but you get what I'm in terms of, let me say, pass catchers, because Christian McCaffrey's kind of in a class of his own, I think, in this offense, where he's just going to be hybrid rushing and receiving. TJ, just clear up the San Francisco side for me. Like I said, I like Jennings ahead of Debo. I think I like Kittle ahead of Debo, which means Debo's probably going to have one of those Nuke games, and then I like McCaffrey ahead of all. What do you think?
I'll tell you what, the first thing I think is how close I was today to another big day, and it just didn't want to shape up to happen. I need a last-second Kamara touchdown here. It's not looking like it's going to happen. I loved the Trevor Lawrence Jaguars stacks today. And I have some teams with like 170 points that have Trevor Lawrence with a big old 0.2 from him. I could have, if you just give Mac Jones his points, they'd be absolutely going off. Parker Washington had himself a day. And so I'm still trying not to tilt on air a little bit, but was it tight end we were just pivoting to?
Yeah, let's pivot to tight end. We've got Kittle. We've got Dawson Knox. Obviously, we know that Dawson Knox is 4K. We know that Kittle is 8.6K. My, what a difference in price.
I think that's the big outside. Kelsey's maybe had a bigger one, but that's one of the biggest price tags I've seen for a tight end in Showdown so far.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts here? I mean, this 4K price tag on Knox is, my goodness, that's pretty juicy, TJ, for a guy that will have some touchdown equity here. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so Dawson Knox, I think, is the top, just straight up raw points, point per, or not raw points, point per dollar option on the slate. He is going to be pretty highly owned, but Dawson Knox, I do believe, is like if you're playing single entry, you're playing cash, you just need somebody straight up to feel pretty good about a chance to get a touchdown in there at that price tag. It's a small field. You're not worried about the overall ownership too much. Dawson Knox is one of your first plug and plays on the entire slate today. He is going to be highly owned, and so that does make it so you might want to differentiate in tournaments. The George Kittle thing, I want to say, hey, he's going to be low owned because of how pricey he is. I want to load up on George Kittle, but I am kind of scared because Trent Williams is inactive. We just got the inactive list. He's confirmed not playing.
They're going to need him to block today a little bit more.
And so Kittle might be held in there to block because he's an incredible blocker, and they might not have a choice but to keep him in there.
All right. I'm with you, man. I'm with you. Before we move on, any other cheap tight ends today that you want to consider? The answer for me is no. I'm not considering cheap tight ends today. Anybody on your radar?
No, I don't think so. I don't think I got to get to a Eric Saubert or a Zach Davidson, Reggie Gilliam, these type of guys. No, I don't think I need them. I'm going to get enough run.
Okay, good. I don't think so either. Now, Dancing Fighter G, I usually talk kickers here. I'm coming back to kickers for a reason because of the weather and the slight wind. He's asking a question. I think this is a great question. Do you play defense today or just X them? Now, you know I am generally a X out the defenses type of player. I don't typically play them. Obviously, we know there's going to be some weather in this game. And defense is such a volatile position because they score a touchdown, you lose points, but you get it back with sacks and interceptions, fumble recoveries, punt return, touchdowns, things like that. How do you see the defenses faring in this game where it's not like Snowmageddon, but it is chilly enough, TJ, and enough wind, I think, to have some impact, as Roth already said. What's your view on the defenses? We've got the Bills at 5K. We've got the 49ers at 3,200. Me personally, I still plan to fade both defenses, but that's just me. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, the Bills defense seems a little not very necessary all the way up at 5K. They're fine-ish, but I don't know how necessary they are up there. The one that I do find very interesting is the 49ers, all the way down at $3,200, just because they're so cheap. If you're looking at this team and you're looking at this game and you're thinking, well, 49ers defense, no Nick Bosa, I don't really want to play that against the Bills. It's such a random position. And the way I see it is when you add snow and wind to the equation, it's essentially just like going in lineup HQ and turning up the randomness even more. The true range randomness, you're just firing up even higher when there's wind and snow at the defensive position. I kind of look at it. And so $3,200, there's just, you don't need much from them to be optimal at $3,200. If you're looking at who do I choose, Ty Johnson or 49ers defense, I like 49ers defense better. Ray Davis or 49ers defense, that I think is a bit closer. That's fairly reasonable. Mac Hollins or the 49ers defense, I think I like 49ers defense a little bit better there too. Hollins maybe, but because of how cheap they are, I think 49ers are very much in play.
Okay, and then TJ, one of my favorite positions in Showdown, the kickers. How do you feel about the kickers today? Obviously Tyler Bass has just had, a roller coaster, getting the game ball one week, the next week he's missing extra points. How do you feel about Bass, Jake Moody? Do you think they try to limit these kickers? Because I will say if the wind is going, TJ, on some of these 4th and 2s, they might just go for them and try, and they may only kick, say, inside the 35 tonight. As an example, I'm just using it as an example. Does that diminish your interest in the kickers? Or do you say, no, I'm fine with them? Like if a kicker scores 10 points tonight, that might be enough to help me take it down with them in the flex, considering we're expecting less output. What are your thoughts on kickers?
Yeah, I'm always kind of game to play the kickers in Showdown. They've been pretty consistently in winning lineups all season long. The snow worries me a bit more than the wind even, just because maybe they can't get their footing. But if Raw's confident that there's not going to be a ton of snow, wind is hurtful one way, but it helps the other way. So I'm going to be probably playing the kickers in this one. I haven't actually built my lineups yet, for what it's worth. I was working all day, so I took a nap as soon as I had all my articles and such done. After the NFL block, I had the NBA expert survey. Then I had to write a review for the upcoming Star Wars show for Agents of Fandom called Skeleton Crew. And so right after that, I took a little nap. And so I got my dummy lineups in, but I don't have my actual lineups officially set yet. But I do plan on likely getting to the kickers.
All right, here we go, TJ. We're moving to FanDuel. Then we will start answering questions, everybody. So if you have any questions, you can put them in the live stream chat, put them in the YouTube chat. We will get to them for you. It's FanDuel time. MVP, TJ. We've got Josh Allen all the way up top. McCaffrey, Purdy. Those are our top three. And then we're getting skill position players pretty cheap tonight outside of McCaffrey. Who's your favorite for MVP on FanDuel?
Oh, what just happened? Nice. My winnings went up on DraftKings pretty significantly. Something good must have just happened. But sorry, I'm easily distractible today. When that's the one thing about doing the show on a Sunday while there's still the afternoon games going on. It's hard not to keep an eye on the games going on. Then it's like, ooh, winnings just increased by $500. That's what I like to see. Bucky Irving 44-yard run. There it is. That's why. Josh Allen, optimally speaking, if I'm playing cash game, if I'm playing single entry, and I really want to make sure that I'm moneying and I'm not too worried about getting different, Josh Allen's my favorite option. Raw points. You're not worried about the salary multiplier on FanDuel. And so Josh Allen is the top guy. I think if you play anybody other than Allen or McCaffrey, you're going to be very different, especially in those single entry high dollar things. That's where I love your Brock Purdy take from DraftKings, carrying it over here to FanDuel. I think he's going to be maybe even lower owned than the 10% we're projecting right now. And we're projecting him with some positive leverage currently. So while everyone's going Allen or McCaffrey, going Brock Purdy or James Cook, I think is very interesting. Craziest I think I'd want to get on FanDuel would be Juwan Jennings. I think he's a guy that has a big ceiling. He could get 100 yards and a touchdown. And if this game ends 20-16, something like that, that's a very cheap price tag. That's a very low-owned guy who could end up in the MVP position.
For sure. And I will say this on FanDuel, I would play this two ways, TJ, and two ways only. And this is about Brock Purdy. I think I would either go 100% Purdy in the flex or way overweight in captain and then underweight in the flex. So as an example, like we got his flex ownership at like 36% projected right now. I'd maybe go 40, like because I'm not running a lot of MVPs tonight. Sorry, MVPs. I would maybe go 30% Purdy MVP, 50% like flex. You get what I'm saying? Like I would either lock him in the flex or go overweight on both sides. That's kind of how I would play it. But that's just me. In terms of flex positions, TJ, who's your favorite upper spin flex between, let's say if you have like Cook, Kittle, Samuel, Shakir, and then under Shakir, who would be your favorite?
So just like straight up, not salary considered, it is Josh Allen. I'd probably want to make sure I'd have him in a like at MVP or flex in every lineup I'm throwing out there. But just straight up, my favorite flex option, it's this 10K to 11K range. Shakir, Juwan Jennings, Amari Cooper. Jennings probably being my favorite one. That to me is where there's the most value. Kittle's not priced up as heavily on FanDuel as he is on DraftKings, so I think he's very viable. I would go him over Debo if I'm only choosing one. But if I had the salary to get up to Cook or Purdy, I would I'd do that instead of going Kittle. Outside of those guys getting a little bit cheaper with it, I probably like the kickers here more than Mac Hollins, Ricky Pearsall. I think I like Curtis Samuel better than Hollins and Pearsall. I don't think he's, if I was playing 100 lineups, 150 lineups, maybe I would get a piece. But Jordan Mason, I think, is not at all viable on DraftKings. I do think he's somewhat viable. at $7,500 on FanDuel, but that's strictly large field if I'm playing 150 lineups. Dawson Knox at 7K, much like he is on DraftKings. He's the best salary saver on the slate. He's going to be highly owned, but he's in a nice spot. Ray Davis will be the lower owned pivot. Knox is projected for 20% ownership. I think it's going to be higher than that.
All right. Sounds good to me, TJ. We are moving to questions, folks. Listen, we just want to thank you guys for always having us in your homes, having us hang out with you. TJ and myself love talking this stuff, love playing this stuff. And so I'm going to the live stream chat. We don't have a lot. Then I'll go to YouTube chat, and then we will put a little bit more time back into your day to prepare for the showdown. I've got one here. This is coming from TC Derb 01. If Purdy at captain prioritize how many pass catches at flex is just one, okay, i.e. Jennings. I think if I've got Purdy at captain, I honestly want McCaffrey and Jennings in the flex for me. That's just me because I think those two guys could do some damage. TJ, what say ye?
Yeah, I probably want to, if not Jennings and McCaffrey, Jennings and Kittle, or even trying something like a Jennings and Pearsall. You know, if we do see more Kittle staying in the block, we could see additional routes for the receivers today. So maybe some Pearsall, but I would probably want to get to. I don't think it's crazy to just do the one, though. Purdy is cheap enough that I think you can do it with just one pass catcher.
Okay. Sounds good to me. QQ, this is from Yep, That's Me. Season-long question, guys. Need upside. Shakir or Chubb in the flex? Man, as crazy as this sounds, I think Shakir, like, Denver's defense has been pretty good. Like, and I don't think Chubb is all the way back. I think Shakir's got a little bit more upside than Chubb right now. What about
if I just needed straight up 10 points, I think I'd go with Chubb. But I agree. I think Shakir's got the higher ceiling. Derek and I are tilting the same thing right now. We both need the Bucky Irving touchdown. They're 3rd and 1. They put Rashad White in, handed off, loss of 6 yards, and
my goodness,
field goal.
My gosh. All right, this is from TC Derb 01. Favorite kicker of the two? Honestly, for me, it's Moody, and here's why. I think for me, it's about the coaching decisions. I know for sure if this team is in field goal range, Shanahan is trotting Moody out there. I don't trust McDermott to send Bass out in every situation. Moody's going out for sure. I've seen him do it time and time and time again. I would side with Moody. That's just me. TJ, what about you?
I think I'd side with Bass, but I like both. I don't think there's a wrong answer there today. It's more than anything, I think it's a coin flip. Projections like Bass a little bit better, so that's where I give it the edge. I have no idea how they even calculate that, if I'm being honest, though. Because I don't know, I just look at the projections and go, oh, it's a full 1.5 more for Bass, sure, but that'll lower the ownership for Moody as well.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't see any more questions in the live stream chat. I don't see any more questions in the YouTube chat, TJ. I'm assuming we've liked them all. Our good producer, TJ, and host, TJ, and analyst, TJ, has encouraged us to smash the like button via an alert banner. So before you leave the room, before you leave our home, before you're done stuffing your face with our Thanksgiving turkey, please smash the like button on the way out. My name is Will. This is TJ. This has been the Showdown Pre-Lock Show. And because of you fine folks, we'll see you back here next Sunday, 6:40 Eastern Standard Time. See you next week.